Hi there, it's Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation, back with another race update and race preview. In this case, talking about Ironman Hawaii 3, which is the women's only edition on the Big Island. The men competed a few weeks ago in Nice, which we're still debriefing inside the team. But it was a good reminder for me as a coach. We have at least 5 women competing in Kona this year, and many others in our sort of ancillary network. That race day still requires a great deal of focus, and this is an opportunity for the women's field of all ages and ability levels to really focus in and have their own day on the Big Island and have a great race. And historically, over the last 17 years of running Endurance Nation, we've had over 500 athletes compete in Ironman Hawaii. So we have a vast set of data. I myself have competed 10 times and have a wealth of knowledge to bring to you. And I hope I can communicate some of that to you today. I got dressed up. I got my Endurance Nation hat. I got my Kona swag. This is from 2018. All the sponsors have the best gear. So your job number one, and number one strategic decision, is saving room in your suitcase for all the swag that you're going to get on the island, because people are giving away free stuff and you want to get it and bring it home, towels, other things, etc. So go collect all the free stuff, just not too close to it. All right, so let's talk through the strategy stuff. I'm going to do this in a different way. We're going to talk a little bit about the fun stuff, logistics, and also some of the race stuff as well. Okay, so my number one logistics tip, and you'll know who has watched this video because I'll be doing it, is when you land in Hawaii. It's a very small airport. You disembark and you go get your luggage, you go get your bike, and then you have to go get your rental car for the island. The rental car is a short bus ride away. And what I recommend you do is that you leave a friend or loved one to get your bag and your suitcase off the rack while you get right on that van and go over to the rental car area. Cars are limited on the Big Island, and you want to make sure that you're in front of that line so you're not waiting for forever. I've waited as long as an hour and a half just at that car rental place for everyone else in front of me to go through the line. So go get the rental car. By the time you get it and drive back to the pickup, even though they don't let you stay there very long, your friend should have the bags and you should be able to get in the car and just go. Just saved you an hour and a half, which is awesome. So you can thank me later when you see me on the Big Island in the future. Okay, the next step for logistics is that as you're heading into town, have your food shopping list, know where you can buy all the things that you can possibly buy from the supermarket, local vendors, local supermarkets, etc. As you drive into downtown Kailua Kona, there's some shopping plazas on the outskirts, and the closer you get, the more local the shopping gets. So spend your dollars, etc., wisely, and get as much of the things that you can get. Leaving your place where you're staying, going back to shop, and then come back in adds a whole nother layer of logistics. So if you at least have the baseline information you need, that's great. And the third logistical tip that I'll give you is this: that the day that you get there, even if it's 8 o'clock at night, do a short workout. Do a 1 mile run. Run around the cul-de-sac where you're staying. Run around the hotel where you're staying, etc. You have to do something when you get there. So have the run gear ready. Just something short, nothing impactful, but you have to mentally and start to physically adapt to the conditions on the island. And it starts with that. You can have your own, ooh, it's hot, it's not hot. You can have that whole conversation inside your head, put on the AC, like, do I put the AC on, AC off? AC on, AC off? I don't know. Like the pros have AC on. Let me check Instagram. They do not. AC off, right? So instead, what I want you to do is do that workout, because you are a highly trained athlete. You're calibrated for exercise. Let's do that exercise session for you, and then just get a sense. Where am I? Like, how do I feel? What was that like? And for the most part, you'll probably be covered in sweat, even if it's 9 o'clock at night, and you'll be feeling it. And it's just a great sort of benchmark for you. All right. Next day you wake up, your first job and order business the next day that you wake up, since you've already done most of your food shopping and you did a short workout as well, is to make sure you get your bike put together. Now, part of you may want to go down to the beach and swim. And if it's not too far away from you, for sure, go swim. But if the swim is open from, say, 7 until 9 or 10 for warm-up practice, when the sponsors will be there and they'll watch your bags for you, then do yourself a favor and put the bike together first. Not that you're going to really ride it that day, but you just want to make sure it all goes back together. If it doesn't, the expo is a great place to get help from all the different sponsors and vendors. There's a bike shop in the shopping plaza, not very far from the King Cam Hotel as well, so you can always go back there. But you want to know really quickly what the story is with your bike. If it works, great. If it doesn't, you have to take it that day to go get addressed, just because the line will be long and there'll be a lot of competing attention for the people who can fix your bike. You want to know that. Okay, that's all the logistical stuff. I hope you got it. You can go back, rewind, watch it again. Now, in terms of logistics done and getting to the race, your job is to acclimate yourself to the conditions of the island as best you can. Since you're an athlete, the best way to do that is to go be active. Swimming in the water down at Digby Beach, definitely recommended. You can swim in other areas, but they're not really like open water swimming areas in Hawaii. The waves are real on the beaches. People body surfing, you can play in the water, but really swimming down at Digby Beach, unless you go to the pools, which is located by the old airport. You can look on a map. If you go to the King Cam Hotel and zoom out, you'll see those pools very nearby. You can go swim there as well if you have to swim there, But getting in the water is usually the biggest thing that people need to do, simply because swimming in ocean, swimming in the swells, getting a sense of what it means to like swim in one direction, but have the swells come from another direction, as opposed to swimming into resistance, is really helpful. More on the swim later, but I do recommend that you dedicate time to that. And just short swims, doesn't have to be the full course, etc. But short swims, and I recommend doing it every day if you can. Just swimming in the water is just part of immersing yourself in the experience that is the island, and I encourage you to do it. Outside of that, you have to go do some cycling. And the real key in cycling here is to acclimate yourself to what the watts and the effort and the heart rate feels like on the big island versus what it felt like at home from wherever you came from. This is a really tough calibration process because many people have different sets of expectations. If you're not heat adapted, or if you're struggling in the conditions, you're going to feel it here. And this is as much of a get used to the heat as it is adjust expectations for the big day. So plan on riding. If you're riding from town, it gets very dangerous in the downtown area. I do recommend that you ride out of town a little bit. There's like a Kona coffee location that's about 2 miles out of town, maybe 2.5 miles out of town, not too just short of the energy lab entrance. Between the energy lab is between this coffee shop and the airport. So look for the coffee shop that's right next to the energy lab. You can park your car in the shopping plaza, ride from there, go in and out. Some people go out further and ride some of the resorts out there. Some people feel like they have to go climb Javi. That's all up to you. Climbing from Javi, just so you know, or to Javi, is a full day exercise. It takes an hour and change to get out there, hour and a half. And you got to ride like an hour and change up, spin around, come back down again. You got to ride an hour and a half back. It takes the whole day. So if it's that important to you, go do it. Otherwise, just getting used to riding on the road, getting used to the wind, used to the heat, etc., really important. In terms of running anywhere will do. Some people like to run downtown, even though it's a little busy. Back and forth on LE Drive, get used to the rolling terrain that will be your race. Some people prefer to go out and run into the energy lab. You can't go into the energy lab on a car or a bicycle, but you can run in on foot. Some people want to go experience that. If you want to do that, again, parking at that Kona Coffee out by the energy lab is a great place to do that. Regardless, you just want to get used to swimming, biking, and running on the island. There are no specific key workouts that will make your race any better or any worse. The big thing is that you're always eating and drinking as you will on race day in these sessions. It's going to be hot, and it really should be a calibration for you, not just a come to Jesus moment. You should already have a great plan for hydration and fueling, and you have to take care of yourself during this process, okay? Because you'll be working out, and you'll notice that that run took like 5, 6 pounds out of you if you had a scale, and you have to replace that on race day. So as you're doing these workouts, not just getting it done to be like, I'm preparing for a race, I'm tapering, but also how is this affecting me? What decisions based on this can I do or make on race day that will make my day better? Okay. All right. So now we're done with the race. We've done the welcome logistics. We've done the week of logistics, and each of you is a special workout. So it's all good. So now we're talking about the race, which is the meat of the question. 8 minutes in, talk about the race. So Ironman Hawaii is a unique race. On paper, it looks like a normal race. You swim, then you bike on a course. It doesn't look too bad. And then you run. Also doesn't look too bad. Wherever you've been, most of the courses you've done, unless it was a super duper flat course, don't look that different than Hawaii. The difference in Hawaii is how the conditions work against you. The combination of the environment and then the variable conditions of the wind really, and the competition on the course, creates this perfect storm of work to be done and suffering to be had. And your job on race day is to make sure that you're dispersing your effort intelligently as possible so that you can slow down less than the competition. Slowing down less than the competition ultimately results in a more enjoyable day. You're engaged, you're having fun, you're executing your plan, things are good. When that control is taken away from you, things get really tough really fast. And there's plenty of places where it can happen. It can happen on the swim, if you're not comfortable in swells. It can happen on the bike, when the crosswinds pick up, or the return trip in a town. It can happen on the run. When your gut goes south, the heart rate skyrockets, and you can never get your mojo back. So let's go through how you're going to fix these problems right away. Number one, the swim. People always ask, should I line up on the outside? Should I line up on the inside? Where do I go, etc. Really, at the end of the day, the delta doesn't matter. It's an ocean. So there'll be people around you, and it'll be sloshy. And even if it's one person, it's going to feel like there's a bunch of people next to you. Your job on the swim is pretty simple. Okay. You want to start off under your own control, usually it's a little fast, 100 strokes fast, 20, 200 strokes fast. That's nothing that you can't possibly handle at the level of fitness you bring. The real piece is you do not want to lose feet. Whatever it takes, do not lose feet. Don't lose hips, don't lose feet. You want to be following someone at all costs, and never more important than the trip back. It's a long swim. You'll notice it as soon as you get in the water the first time that you swim, you'll swim out and say, this must be about halfway. You'll go back, check the map and your Strava, and you'll say, oh, I just swam 1/4 of the way out. I didn't even make it 1/4 of the full race. Yikes. I have to do more of that on race day. Good news is, with the swells, the terrain, the fishies on the bottom, the people around you, the energy of the race, the first out portion actually goes by pretty quickly. Pretty soon you're swimming around a big boat. There's plenty of diesel fumes in the air. It's awesome, probably great for performance, I'm sure. And then you're headed back in to town. And again, most people take that second turn and they're making in their minds an imaginary rectangle, like this box that I'm sitting in. Let's just say you're swimming out the bottom here and you turn along those boats. And you're like, okay, I'm going to make this next turn and head back in where I came, imaginary rectangle. That's not how the course is designed. It actually comes in, sorry, from here and goes all the way back down to here. It's a triangle, right? So the portion at the turn is the flat part, and you're going back and forth from the same place down at the pier. So actually, that second turn around those boats is a much sharper turn than you anticipate. Instead of turning right 90 degrees, you almost have to turn right like 100 degrees, 110 degrees. The key here is follow the feet. So even if you're the one who knows where to go and no one else knows where to go, it doesn't matter. If there's a bunch of feet, 5 feet to the left of you, go get on the feet, right? No feet here, bad. Feet over here, good. The more you can stay in a group and the more you can work together, the more enjoyable your return trip will be. It's going to get hard, but swimming on other people provides you with cues. It provides you with things to think about with your stroke. It gives you things to grumpy about, and it keeps you connected to the race. And the big theme here across all this advice is doing whatever it takes to keep you connected with the race, because it's easy with the course and the terrain, especially if it's your first time to get disconnected. So we stay inside that space. You swim back in. The last portion, the pier length, the water's coming off Digby Beach. It's very hard. You have to work with the waves and the swells going in, and sometimes it can feel like you're stuck there for a little bit. So again, stick with those feet, finish strong. You get up at the end, you start peeling off your race swim skin, stop at the water. Get water on yourself. The salt will be on you all day and it can chafe. It'll be very bad. So just take a 20 seconds, get yourself covered in water, go into transition, do what you got to do, jog out of the tent, go get on your bike, soft pedal out, start your bike computer, get to work. Congratulations. You made it out of the swim, but for me is always the biggest worry. And now you're on the bike. Unfortunately, you've got a lot of work to do, and the race is going to really test you here. So people are worried about Javi on the bike, but there's actually a lot to think about before you get there. First, you've got to climb up and down Kuakini inside town, which is basically an administrative loop around that shopping plaza, a bit of climbing up, descending down, sharp left at full speed to climb up Kuakini, flip it, come down, sharp right to climb up again. It's quite heavy. So you need to have your head in the game. So don't worry about eating right away. You do want to start drinking if you can, but there's a lot of heads up riding until you come back out and get on the Queen K again. Once you get back on the Queen K, probably about mile 8-ish, maybe 9-ish, now or 7-ish, you're now able to ride and you're basically going straight out to Javi, one turn, basically, at the end of the day after the resorts to Javi, and then you're coming back again. The first portion of this ride is very fast. You'll have a slight tailwind. It's in the morning, it's cooler, etc. And there'll be different groups moving through the course because of the different age groups as people are moving and just different speeds of swimming versus biking. There's quite a few stronger bikers than there are strong swimmers, so there's a differentiation there. Your job here at the beginning of the bike is to really start that nutrition plan. If I drink 2 bottles of fluid on a normal race in an Ironman per hour, in Hawaii, I'm trying to drink 3. And I do that for as long as I can until I burp up some fluids. It sounds aggressive, but years of racing in Kona has taught me that dehydration is real. And because of the difficulty of the bike on the way back, you cannot go easy enough to absorb more with the core body temperature that you have and the fatigue you're experiencing later in the bike. So you have to start early. So as much as you want to be racy, and you have to be smart going through aid stations and so on, you also have to make some really smart decisions about nutrition. And the hydration starts early in this race. So be ready for that. Do the math on your bottles, use the aid stations accordingly, know what you need to do to make sure that you're not missing any hydration on the way out. Should you miss hydration or you want to grab a Coke or change to water or do whatever on the way back in, you have lots more flexibility later in the day to adjust your nutrition, especially your fluid intake based on the status of your body and the status of sort of your overall mindset of where you are at that time. But until we get there, we're setting ourselves up for success by really getting that hydration in and being smart. On the way out, as I mentioned, the climbs are basically set up so they're long, slow climbs out and then very steep descents. So it's really, you're in a group-ish. It's not bad on the way out. You got a slight tailwind, not that steep, and a fast descent to not that steep to a fast descent. So it almost feels like you're flying along there. And until you make the left-hand turn to head up towards Javi, you've been having mostly free miles. So when you hit the climb to Javi where the work really starts. The actual climb to Javi takes about 7, but if you take it from the bottom, it's a little bit longer. It's quite a long climb. And the challenge about the climb to Javi is that you have places where you can be in the aero bars and places where you can't. You have to use your gears appropriately here to make sure that you're not grinding in the aero bar position, that over torquing will really exhaust your muscles, depleting you of critical glycogen you're going to need later in the day. Instead, when the road goes up, if you need to shift in that small rate means you're sitting up to spin up those hills, even in the wind, just so you're not over fatiguing your hip flexors, core muscles that you're going to need later in the day. Every chance you can get, be as aero as possible, but understand you're going to climb. The closer and closer you get to the top of Javi, the windier and harder it's going to get. Sometimes it's rainy up there, sometimes it's cloudy. There's been hail in some years, even though it's been crazy hot down in Kailua Kona. That's just the nature of the beast. Instead of fighting it or being upset about it, you need to embrace it. I do recommend a between the aero bars bottle with a straw. That way you can just drink when you need to by bending over, as opposed to having to pick a bottle up off your frame. That becomes increasingly difficult when you're tired and the wind is blowing from the side like you've never felt it before. There's been years where every time I tried to reach for a bottle, the wind would blow. I put my hand back, and then I'm like, okay, wind seems safe. And I put my hand down, it would blow. I put my hand back. You can actually look down the road and see all the other riders and see how they're responding, and you'll know, oh, there's a gust of wind coming up here. You can get ready for it. One of the reasons why the outbound section of the bike is so important is because it is cooler and you do have a little bit of a tailwind and people are there. So this, if you're an aggressive racer, is the best time to push the bike. Pushing up into Javi, almost riding that like it's closer to half Ironman effort, if you will, for the most experienced athletes out there. And you have to just make a decision on your own. On the way back, we dial things down and we ride a regular Ironman pace, keeping our heart rate down and not going hard. Because the return trip is where things get different. All of a sudden, that tailwind is a headwind. All of a sudden, those steep hills are actually in your way as opposed to behind your back. And the climbing on the steep hills with a headwind and the sun beating down on you middle of the day is brutal. You'll be able to go back later and look at your bike computer and see as the speed went down, temperature went up from the road on your bike computer the whole time. Speed down, temperature up, speed down, temperature up, the whole way across the course. It gets brutal. And that's where you need a bottle on your bike for water so you can pull it out and pour it all over yourself every time you start one of those climbs. You keep your core body temperature down, doing your best to breathe and finding the places where you can be fast where it's not too much work. There will be opportunities past the resorts, heading back into town, past the airport, where you'll be very fast in here. But there's plenty of times when you're not. The scenic overlook climb, the goat crossing climb, even just getting out to the airport can be tough as well at the final step. So when it works against you, be smart, stay inside your box, and be really patient. When you have opportunities, take advantage of it. But they're going to be few and far between. And again, this is where you're going to start to notice issues. If you are planning to bike, if you're a 6 hour biker and you're hoping to go six in Kona, most people go a little bit slower unless they're very strong on the second half of the bike. And by strong, just not fading. So plan your nutrition accordingly for about an extra hour of work. If you're a 6 hour biker, plan your nutrition so you're ready for seven just in case. If you show up for a 6 hour bike with a 6 hour nutrition plan and it takes you 7 hours, then you start scrambling. You've got to figure other things out. That's no good. So really plan with that extra piece. The final push into town is fast past the airport. It's fun. You probably will recon it before. It's a great place to be, but it's a long bike. It's going to really drain you. And the slower you are, the more of a cost you accrue in time. In fact, many of you will still be riding on the way back in, and you'll see the elite women heading out mile 14, 15, or coming in 19, 20 on the run, and you'll still be biking. That's pretty par for the course. Okay. All right. So coming into T2, we're going to rack your bike and go back through the transitioner again and head out. Number one thing about the run, everyone's worried about the run. Number one thing about the run is to understand that the first aid station on the run is right there inside transition. I've run past it in the past, and the next aid station really technically isn't for a mile and a half out on an e-drive, which is forever. It's a nightmare. So stop there, fill up your water, get water on your head, get ice, get a sponge, get a cloth, do whatever you need to do. Your job and that elite section is to keep your core body temperature down. We recommend that you cap your heart rate on the run for the out and back section of elite at the same heart rate that you biked on. So if you biked at a 142 heart rate, you're running at a 142 cap. Now, some cases you may feel super slow. There'll be places downhill, whatever, you can pick it up. Otherwise, you'll feel super slow. The difference is that people who are running fast in this section, unless they're heat acclimated or a native of the island, are going to really suffer later in the day when things get harder up on the Queen K, when the terrain picks up and the hills get longer. You're dropping the energy level, it's brutally hot. So really strategically keep your core temperature down. Try and stay wet without getting this. People are out with hoses all over Elite Drive. And if you don't like wet feet, avoid those wet shoes. Okay. Heart rate down, out and back on Elite Drive. It's going to be super hot. And then you get to Polani, also known as Pay and Save Hill. You have to get up this hill. There's actually an aid station so long, aid station in the middle. And you have to get up that hill. Now, in the past, I used to run this hill, and people say if you're running the hill, you're super strong. The issue is that running up that hill, even at a conservative pace, really spikes your heart rate, gets you out of that zone. So you don't want to do it. Run until the heart rate gets above 142 and start power walking. Take the aid station power. When you get to the top of that hill, probably like mile 8-ish, depending on how you move the course, now your run race has begun. You've paced yourself. It's taken you an hour and 10 minutes, whatever, to get to this point. Now it's time for you to actually start running and you get to work. And it's the long roads, big highways, 3, 4 lanes. It's hard to see off in the distance. And this is where the mental game comes into play. So you're going to be rolling out. And even though you just bike this from a run perspective, you don't know where you are. It's a long way to get to the energy. I want to say if you're at like mile 8 there, and the energy lab's 18, you've got about 8 miles or so to get out there. And when you come back, you're at about mile 18, sorry, coming out of the energy lab, which is 8 miles back for 26, right? So at the end of the day, it's about an 8 mile trip out. So you've done 8, you've got another 8 to go to get to the energy lab turn to go down and come back up again. It's a lot of work. And the running out on the Queen K is a different beast. So really take advantage of those aid stations. And your job is to, again, run within your ability, continue fueling and hydrating as you're able. And your job here is to stay in the game, find people to work with, be smart, and make good street strategic defensive decisions. Going down into the energy lab, it'll take forever to get there. Going down in there, you'll realize you're going downhill, you're happy, but your quads will be tight. And then you get to the energy lab and you're super hot. So your special needs bag is, and odds are everything inside that special needs bag for the run has melted under the considerable heat. So do plan your nutrition choices accordingly. And up out of there, which strangely feels better than running down into it with your quads, but it's exhausting. Your heart rate does go up again. And when you get to the top, you realize that you've got to go all the way back to town. And this is where the mind games start. The difference between a great run in Kona and a bad run in Kona really happens here. Yes, you can mess it up on a lead drive. Yes, you can mess it up by running too hard on the Queen K or just not missing your nutrition or whatever. But really, the biggest differential if you're having a great race is that people feel as though they're so far away from downtown when they get to the top of the energy lab. The truth is, you have about 10K to go. So keep that in your mind. Top of the energy lab, you got about 10K to go. It's a 10K, 6.2 miles. It's not very far at all. But when you look out in the horizon and you can't see anything, daytime or nighttime, to where you need to go, it feels like forever. Your job is to come up with milestones to that rock, to that lamppost, to that street sign, to that aid station, to that light, whatever it is. You've got to keep yourself rolling as you get back into town. As you get closer and closer, the road starts to kick up, the fans start to show up again. You get some mojo from getting to the top of Palani. It's run down Palani because you can run down it. Come on. And then it's an out and back longer than you want to be finished on a lead drive. Again, the run success is predicated on your bike hydration early, your bike pacing, strong out, smart conservative back, and the conserving energy, and then the smart start of the run. If you can do all of that correctly, you'll be able to put together a Kona that is representative of your abilities. It's tempting to go out there and just race. Believe me, I've tried it. But the island doesn't respect raw power. The island respects someone who brings both the perspective of understanding that you're the fittest that you've ever been, but also understanding this is a place where the island demands your best. And it's not just about strength, it's about wisdom, it's about courage, it's about heart, it's about Ohana, supporting other racers and supporting the other people who make this race possible. So let me finish this segment by talking about that. Hawaii is a special place. It's incumbent upon us as athletes to take care of the island, take care of the people who are there. So say please and thank you to everyone who helps you out, who is from the island, whether they look like you and I or they look like someone else. They are all people of the island and they have opened their hearts to us. And it's a big burden on the island. They've been doing it for many years. And for us to keep this tradition alive, we have to respect the opportunity we have to be there and pay it forward. So take care of the island, support local businesses, be good to the people, be respectful, don't wear underpants or bikini shorts to dinner, and don't take anything from the island that you didn't buy. Don't steal anything from the island. That's terrible. Enjoy your time there. Take all the pictures, take all the memories. And I sure for heck hope that you have the race of your life. If you like this video, please share it with other people out there who are doing the race this year. It's going to be a fantastic race. If you have any questions, you can always go over to endurancestation.us. We've got a chat bot right there in the corner. You can hit that chat bot, ask us questions if we're not coaching you. If we are coaching you, let's go. Let's talk. Let's hear all about it. I can't wait to see those race plans in the forum. It's going to be epic. Thanks, everyone. Take care and have a fantastic day and a great race.